Hello again, everyone. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, September 30th, 2013. Of course, the last Raw before the pay-per-view this Sunday, Battleground. Now, my thoughts on this one, I think it was very, very intense. Personal, real situations. They're using real-life scenarios as storylines, especially in engagement. We even saw a debut and a return of sorts. We saw kind of a return of a guy we haven't seen in a while due to injury during our opening segment involving the one CM Punk. Of course, CM Punk was talking about revenge after being attacked last week by Curtis Axel and Ryback, with Ryback destroying him to the table last week in his hometown of Chicago, saying that this show feeds on predictability and unpredictability, especially if you're dealing with me, CM Punk, the king of unpredictability. But he said, yeah, it was predictable that I would get my ass kicked in Chicago, my hometown. And all this stuff is predictable about every time he wants to get his hands on Heyman. Axel and Ryback are always there to save him. But it's not going to end their way. It's going to end his way. This whole story is going to end with Punk taking out Axel and taking out Ryback, especially this Sunday at Battleground. That will lead to Heyman finally getting his just deserves by CM Punk. And CM Punk once again was itching for a fight. So here comes the GM, Brad Maddox, who hasn't been used a lot lately in the main spotlight because Triple H has been the main authority figure lately, as you would see throughout the evening, especially with the Rhodes family. So anyway, Maddox is like, well, I know you want to fight tonight, but you're not going to fight who you want. Cue Biggie Langston's music. We haven't seen Biggie Langston in about a month or two. Has he been injured or been taken off TV because Ziggy dumped him? But anyway, Biggie came out saying to CM Punk indeed he's ready for a fight. He nailed the microphone in Punk's head, which led to the referee coming out in a Punk matchup to begin Raw. CM Punk taking on Biggie Langston. Despite Punk did try the early offense, specifically using his speed and agility, because of course that was needed to dunk down a man like Biggie Langston, who's very tough and strong and very muscular with those man tits. Thank God they were covered tonight. Anyway, after Punk's early offense, here comes Biggie Langston using his strength and ability to just destroying Punk with nasty claws and nasty physical power moves to take down Punk early on. And every time Punk tried to come back, he even tried the GTS once. But of course, he couldn't get the weight on. That's what I always see with guys. I've seen Cena do this a couple times. I hate to mention Cena, especially since he's not around. Cena attempts the FU maybe once or twice, and the first time against a big guy like the Big Show. Like he pretends the weight is too big for him. And then like the second time when the guy is weakened, even further, that's when Cena goes for the FU. It connects it. Kind of like the point for CM Punk. He tried a GTS once with Biggie at full strength. And after that, Biggie just dominated over Punk until Punk came back with his big moves. Of course, the big nasty kicks, the big noob. And of course, nailing the elbow after 2 attempts. Speaking of 2 attempts, he did get the second attempt for the GTS on Biggie. Connected the GTS this time. 1, 2, 3 victory for CM Punk, sending a big message to Heyman and Ryback for this Sunday. So, nice to see Biggie back. I haven't seen him in a while. And Biggie looked decent in this matchup. But indeed, Punk got the victory this evening. Now, on to our next match. And it just feels like the Dream of Genie theme. You know, it's the Dream of Genie song, but slower. Anyway, we got Fandango. Scaramouche, the crowd doing the Fandango. Forgot what it was tonight. Alabama or something. I know they're all the way to Buffalo for Battleground. But Fandango with Submarine in tow took on Kofi Kingston. Now, Mr. Kingston coming in like a house of fire. The usual fast Jamaican crazy. I mean, epic and crazy because he was Jamaican for a second. Quote anime again. I did that a few episodes ago, a few reviews ago. But anyway, Kofi came in, of course, coming in with the nasty kicks and his high-flying style, but Fandango's little footwork got the best of Kofi in the midway going of the matchup. Of course, Fandango came in with some big clotheslines, some big kicks. And then, of course, headbutting Kofi. With a big headbutt, he did try his big finish once, the leg drop, but that didn't work. I think Kofi did a great counter on one of his moves. And then Kofi pulled out a... Like, the ending was just so quick. The ending of the match was just so, like, washed, in my opinion. Fandango basically ran to a surprise Tournament of Paradise by Kofi. Like, out of nowhere, he nailed it in a 1-2-3 victory for Kofi. You know, Fandango looked very good in the matchup in the late going, but of course, Kofi with his high-flying style and a crowd being behind him, of course, Kofi got the victory with the surprise Tournament of Paradise. But just as he was celebrating his victory, here comes the Wyatt family. Of course, Bray Wyatt, along with Warren and Harper, but they were on the ramp. You know, came out, lights went out, and here comes the family with Mr. Bray in his rocking chair, rocking back, with the lantern, of course, lit. Talking about taking out all these guys for all these nightmares. And, like, you know, this creepy little self saying all these nightmares will go down to Sister Abigail. And all these men shall believe me and follow the buzzards. And as we went to commercial. Before that, we got, of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Second year in a row, WWE, of course, teaming up with the Susan G. Coleman Foundation with the ring ropes being pink again, and everyone's wearing something pink. All the t-shirts are pink. Like you see, I have a lot of people wearing pink shirts. Like Daniel Bryan, Orton, all them wore pink shirts. Speaking of Daniel Bryan and Orton had a little backstage confrontation with, of course, Brie Bella, Daniel Bryan's real-life fiancé. Of course, Brie Bella's been announced. You will get an opportunity against AJ this Sunday for the Divas Championship at Battleground. That wasn't the only match added for Battleground tonight. A lot of matches were added for Battleground. We had the pre-show match, Dolph Ziggler taking on Damien Sandow, plus another match that will be added. But first, we saw a return of Big E onto a debut of a team that's got kind of the same amount of hype as Wyatt family, but not as buzzy as the Wyatt's debut. Of course, I'm referring to Primo and Epico. I mean, Los Matadors making their debut. They would team up against the Job Squad. I mean, 3MB. Jinder Mahal and Slater. No Drew McIntyre in sight. But their entrance, like the Wyatt family's entrance, is so creepy and so out there. It's nailed perfectly. You know, the lights are out. They come up in a lantern. But Los Matadors' entrance came out like the old music, and then it came out with the robes, the capes, and then here comes this little bull that came out with them. It kind of like looked like Hornswoggle if he was a little taller and was more athletic. So they come in with El Torito and the names of Fernando and Diego. That's their new names. But everybody knows the Primo and Epico. Even heard the Primo chant. Small fans like me are gonna know. Thank God, speaking of small fans, I'm glad they haven't chanted Husky Harris to Bray. Anyway, and I heard some boy chants. I thought the match was okay. Like Los Bandos came in with their high flying style. It's kind of weird to see Primo and Epico go from having a sexy manager, Rosa Mendez, they go from that to a bull and have to wear masks. Downgrade. They lost Rosa Mendez. But anyway. But they had a decent, okay matchup against Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater. They were basically delaying the inevitable. Because they did try some offense. All 3MB try to show some fake expectations of hope for them as they got the advantage later on in the matchup for the early fury from these Los Matadors. Fernando getting in. I don't know who's who. Like, is Diego Primo or is Fernando? I don't know who's playing who. Is Diego Primo or is Fernando Primo? I think Primo's the one with the beard. That's all I can tell. Anyway, so 3MB try to get the advantage, but of course, Los Matadors got the advantage back with some decent clotheslines and decent kicks until they did a double team move on Slater with the 1-2-3 victory. over 3MB. So Los Matadors in the debut, they look good. You know, it's nice to see Premium have to go back a beat in new characters, but still. I said this many times. They did the Los Matador gimmick for Tito Santana. So there you go. With that, with the Los Matadors debut. Now, I told you that there was matches added for Battleground. I don't know if Los Matadors would be in a match at Battleground. But I told you 2 new matches being made for Battleground tonight. Soon to be 3. We have the Divas match. Brie Bella against AJ. Nice. Like, the reason why Brie Bella getting a shot is just because she's dating and engaged to Daniel Bryan. Who knows? I always diss the Bellatrins. But Daniel Bryan dating a Bellatrix is like the equivalent of him dating a Kardashian. A talentless bitch. You know, Kim Kardashian's a talentless bitch, and Brie Bella and the Bellatrix like and a talentless bitch too. They look hot, but they can't wrestle. So besides that, we got the other match made, the pre-show match, Damien Sandow against Mr. Dolph Ziggler. And also a match I kind of predicted on my new show, Attack Sports, today, but it kind of changed a little bit. We had our little summit involving Triple H and Stephanie, bringing out the Rhodes family, Cody, Dusty, and of course, Goldust, Dustin Rhodes. Saying it was opportunity number 4. Unfortunately, they were right. They gave Cody an opportunity to try to save his job until he lost the Randy Orton, which started this whole storyline, which ended up with Goldust coming in and trying to save his job. Then we saw what happened with Dusty Rhodes 2 weeks ago, having a choice between getting one of his sons their jobs back, but now both sons have an opportunity to get both their jobs back. I kind of predicted on my Attack line, not my Attack line, but my Attack Sports show, that there was rumors of an impending 6-man tag involving the Shield this Sunday against Cody, Dustin, and Dusty. Well, kind of, but it's going to be a tag team match involving Cody and Goldust teaming up against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, the title match. And if Cody and Dustin win, they get the jobs back. But if they lose, not only would they not be in WWE again, their dad would get fired from his job as a territorial guy. This is the way to win a man again. You know, they just basically wrote Cody out with this firing because, of course, Cody got married, real-life marriage. So decided to run him up to get fired, like storyline fired, and now he's coming back. Eventually, they will win this Sunday. You know, with these stipulations on the line, with their jobs, and the dad's job on the line, too. And when this proposal was made by Triple H and Stephanie, that segment got very intense when, like, Dusty rebutted, and he was like, nose to nose with Triple H, and then he gave, like, a little talk to the hand to Stephanie. That was funny. And then Triple H's like, you're out of line, old man. It just got very intense. That segment was just so brutally intense. You know, it was like wheels against kind of a storyline. But anyway, Dusty's like, we accept, man. I'm going to be in my boy's corner, be your Huckleberry all night long. Well, like I said, it's going to be a 6-man tag because Dusty's going to be in his son's corner. But as the Rhodes family was ready to leave, I kind of smelt an attack coming from the Shield because Stephanie's like, well, Dusty, you want to fight? You might as well get it. And indeed it happened as Goldust got speared to hell as they were leaving by Roman Reigns. And here comes the 3-on-1 attack, basically, well, the 3-on-2 attack on Cody and Goldust. Dusty was trying to come in to save his sons, trying to grab a steel chair, trying to toss it in the ring. But as Dusty was trying to get in, he got triple teamed by the Shield, which left Cody taken out until he got triple powerbomb by the Shield. So Shield delivering a big message saying you're going to get more of this Sunday as Cody and Goldust will team up against the Shield this Sunday. Reigns and Rollins. They could add Ambrose and Dusty in the match, but we'll see if it'll be still a tag match or 6-man. But it probably will be a tag. Now, on with our next match, which involved R-Truth. It's just me, or was he offbeat tonight? During his intro, he was offbeat. He didn't have his earbuds in. His earbuds was hanging out. Even Michael Cole commented on that. Why is R-Truth wearing headphones? He's wearing his inner earbuds to listen to the music and not be offbeat. And he took them off for whatever reason. He was offbeat when he was singing in the ring. He was kind of offbeat for a moment. That's what it seemed like to me. Well, R-Truth would take on the Intercontinental Champion, Curtis Axel. R-Truth, of course, came in with this unorthodox style with, of course, the big splits and the big dancing and the big nasty kicks and clotheslines. But of course, Axel being a methodical self with, of course, his Heyman on his corner. His Walrus, Porus, Cuckoo, Cuckoo. I did like the reference of the Beatles. That John Lennon said, the Walrus is Paul. Maybe like a myth or something. But anyway, we had R-Truth coming in, trying to get me, but of course, Axel, like I said, with the methodical self, came back with some weakening moves, some chest locks, some clotheslines. But as Axel came back following Truth's early offense, and Axel was going to put the finish up, maybe go for his big move, or maybe a perfect plex. Here comes CM Punk's music. Distracted Axel, and I kind of saw this coming. Like, Punk saw it predictable. Well, this was kind of predictable. That Axel heard Punk's music, got distracted, got warned by R-Truth. 1, 2, 3. Saw that coming from a mile away. That Axel got distracted by Punk's music and got warned by R-Truth. Basically, thanks to Punk's music, R-Truth got the victory, a pin over the Intercontinental Champion. So there you go. Actually a big move. An STO, then the pin in the win for R-Truth, thanks to a little help from CM Punk. By the way, before we go on, as we prepare for another match, I think it was a Divas match, I'd like to graduate the best diva ever in WWE Hall of Famer, Trish Stratus, who Raw announced that she gave birth to a baby boy, Maximus, tonight. I think it said on the screen or Twitter picture, 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Of course, Trish revealed her pregnancy to the public when she got inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame earlier this April. So congrats to Trish, man. I'm happy for her that she's a mother. Happy for her. And her husband won. Now, speaking of divas, and divas that suck now, on with Brie Bella. Brie Bella taking on Alicia Fox. With AJ watching in the back with her friend, Tamina. Oh, potential, especially if Brie Bella does get the victory over AJ, because Brie Bella had the momentum on her side. Despite Alicia Fox using her leg strength, having probably the second best legs in WWE besides Stacey Keibler, Brie Bella got the victory over Alicia Fox. Typical Divas match, sloppy. Brie Bella tries some big moves. Alicia tried to come back to Brie with her little face buster move and a 1, 2, 3 victory. As she gives a big message to AJ. And Brie, let's say Daniel Bryan is going to get a happier ending from Brie Bella, a better ending than the Breaking Bad ending. I wanted to insert a Breaking Bad joke tonight. So, because the whole Breaking Bad finale thing, and didn't mention in my attack. I don't watch that show with Baby Blue ending. Trying to see which ending was worse, Breaking Bad or Sopranos. I never watched either one of them, but the buzz about both endings were phenomenal. But anyway, forget Breaking Bad. On with wrestling. I just want to make a Breaking Bad reference. On with our next scenario involving Big Show. Now, I knew Big Show was going to try to collect. We've seen what's been happening with Big Show, this whole storyline with all this financial crisis being used as a little bit of a ballyhoo to try to let Big Show listen to Stephanie, because Stephanie's like, breach of contract, your financial stuff. Think about your family every time Big Show wants to rebel. Stephanie plays the mind games, which lets the Big Show kind of being a little bit of a crony. An unintentional crony, especially knocking out good Dusty Rhodes and Miz last week. So Big Show in an interview saying that people's been making fun of me for saying, rebel, man, but do the right thing, but hey, you're not the ones that are threatened to be fired if you don't listen. You're not the one who has financial trouble like I do. But then as he got a little emotional in an interview, he finally snapped. He was like, saying, I'm going to knock somebody out. But not because someone wants me to. I'm going to knock out Triple H. So he went to Triple H's office. He met with Brad Maddox and basically destroyed Maddox. Tossed him against a Battleground poster and waiting impatiently, walking around throughout the evening, waiting for Triple H's arrival, which never came. Instead, he got a little visit from the cops, saying that he was about to be arrested for threatening to attack a WWE employer. But here comes Stephanie McMahon. This really gets intense, this whole segment, this whole story. Like Stephanie's like, I'm going to let this guy go because I'm going to give him a warning because this guy has a lot of things in his head. And I talked to your wife today. That's when it got real. Their wife's like, you're not living up to her expectations. Oh, burn! It's like, you got to pay a mortgage. Basically, I think Stephanie called the cops to basically try to help Big Show from not snapping. You know, and then after Big Show got that news, and of course his plan on finally rebelling and attacking Triple H backfired thanks to the cops coming in, and Stephanie once again putting the whole crisis thing up on his head again. He snapped by punching Triple H poster of his DVD cover for his new DVD. Thy Kingdom Come, available now on DVD and Blu-ray. Cheap plug. Cheap plug, Triple H. Nice cheap plug for a Big Show. Smash the poster of your cover for your new DVD. Triple H has been the king of cheap plugs. Have you seen his promos with DX, with Shawn Michaels, during the second era? He's the king of cheap plugging. So, there you go. With Big Show's plans being thwarted. Now, on with our next scenario. Next match. Nice to see Zack Ryder. Woo, woo, woo. You know, a lot of the men in the 11-man tag got in the action tonight because you saw Zack Ryder in the 11-on-3 handicap match against the Shield last week. Let's see wrestle. Too bad he had to lose for the millionth time against Alberto. Damn, Zack Ryder. I think, is it just me or Zack Ryder fought Alberto so many times? Like, Zack Ryder's been wrestling Alberto so many times. He's been jobbed to him so many times. You know, Zack Ryder did have some okay offense, like, you know, false hope. You know what I mean? He did the okay offense. He did nail the Bolski boot and did try to look. He did look okay against the World Champ. Because they were setting up the Rough Rider, that's when Alberto countered it for his own move and weakened the arm to, of course, set up the cross arm breaker and a tap out for Zack Ryder. And Alberto gets the victory, sending a big message to his challenger, Rob Van Dam, saying it doesn't matter if you're making this match a hardcore match in your favor, you know, Mr. ECW, ECW, Mr. Extreme, Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View, whatever you call yourself. That Roberto's saying, no matter what stipulation you put in front of me, I will rebel. I will prevail and regain my World Heavyweight Championship. So there you go. Now, our next promo. God, this was fucking hilarious. Paul Heyman said he was going to propose to Ryback a business proposal. But the way he said it, the way this promo was set up was just so fucking hilarious. And if we want to let out our emotions, we gotta come out in a minute. I was like, uh-oh, bromance. Like, you can see this bromance building. You know, even though this was a business proposal, this little bromance has been happening since the day after Night of Champions when Paul Heyman got the kiss on the cheek by Ryback. So, there you go. There. And, like, the way Heyman did it, he's like, I want to be with you, Ryback, to death do us part. You know, this relationship, this partnership. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking funny. You know, the way it was set up to be like a gay thing. You know, and then the ultimate nail in this cough, the ultimate icing on the cake of this whole thing was when Paul Heyman went on one knee. It said, will you be a Paul Heyman guy? I knew that was the proposal, you know, to be a Paul Heyman guy, and he said yes. Well, he never really got to, Ryback never got to really give an answer, because here comes CM Punk's music. Now, like I said, the setup was just so epic, just the way it was so funny. Like, everyone complains, TV-14 attempts, you know. And then, like I said, after that little proposal attempt, and it was like, the setup was just funny as hell. The way it was done, looking like it was like a marriage proposal for a moment. Punk's music hit, third time you've heard it tonight, and then Punk came from the crowd, and he fell. It looked like a weird injury. Like, the way he did it, the way he fell, and he went through the barricade and fell on his leg, it was like, oh man, that looked very real. And it looked kind of real. And, you know, he fell, and he was limping a little bit. You know, it looked like a weird injury. And I kind of had a sneaky suspicion he was going to play possum like Paul Heyman did last week. Well, he did play possum. As the officials trying to help him, CM Punk pushed him out, grabbed the kendo stick from the under the ring, and nailed Heyman with it until Heyman won back. And then Ryback got nailed as Punk got a little piece of revenge heading towards Sunday on Ryback after the attack last week. But as Ryback ran out, here comes Axel to get his hits with the kendo stick, try to get his revenge on Punk for screwing him over all truth tonight. But of course, after one big giant hit on the head. On the head with the candlestick. Punk nailed the GTS on Axel, sending, of course, a message to Ryback for their match this Sunday with Paul Heyman tweaking his knee a little bit, trying to one-up Punk after Punk. The way Punk performed, he was a great actor, like faking that injury. It looked so real. He was convincing, playing possum. He was so convincing that he, faked the injury to set up Heyman. Played possum. Great setup. This whole promo was a great setup. The great setup with Heyman pretending it was a ready proposal, then Punk coming in with the fake injury, possum. It was a great, funny promo. Now, on with next match involving Dolph Ziggler teaming up with the Usos against the Shield in a 6-man tag team match. Of course, Dolph and the Usos had their way with the Shield early on, with their high-flying ways and taking the Shield out at one point and doing some big flying moves up the top rope and onto the floor. The Shield, the way Orton's back, I need to insert Orton here, but the way Orton's back just old self, the old Viper, the old Orton. I think the Shield's back to the old Shield. Dominant in 6-man matches. Because their teamwork, I've always said this in my promos in the past, that the Shield's teamwork has always been pristine and awesome. It was proven yet again tonight that the teamwork is back. Because, of course, once again, like every Shield 6-man tag, they find a way to get the advantage with a cheap slide move. And boy, oh boy, did they take advantage later on in the matchup, following the early advantage from Usos and Ziggler. Because isolating their man in the corner with one of the Usos being dragged in. Until indeed, one of the Usos got the hot tag to Dolph. Coming with the hot tag. Coming like a man possessed. Whatever news we are to do. Nailing Ambrose with some big moves. Of course, nailing the zigzag at one point. But of course, the other members of the Shield blocked every pin attempt by Mr. Ziggler. Until, of course, the Usos got involved taking all the members out of the ring. But the way the ending was, it was a perfect example of Shield's great teamwork. As Ambrose and Usos dragged themselves across the floor, of course, Rollins was the legal man in the ring at the time, and Ziggler nailed the big move, the zigzag on Rollins, but he didn't know that Rollins tagged in Reigns. So if not knowing, Reigns tagged himself in before Dolph nailed the zigzag. Bam! Here comes the spear from Roman. I could smell that from a mile away. Predictability, kind of. Being a wrestling fan, I can sense when things are going to happen. 1, 2, 3 victory for the Shield. Getting ready and getting momentum for their match against Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes this Sunday. Almost said Dusty Rhodes. Cover there. See, I said Dustin. Said Dustin. Go Dust. So there you go. Big momentum for the Shield and a great teamwork way to end this matchup. I love Ziggler, but the teamwork, Shield once again proven tonight. Now, then after that, we saw the Big Show segment with the Cops and Stephanie. Now on with our main event for the evening. Not much of a main event though, but still. It was Tina Morella taking on Mr. Cesaro, Antonio Cesaro. Of course, with Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter and Cesaro's corner. And of course, you got Hornswoggle and the Great Khali and Heyman's and Santino's corner. I thought it was a tag match. But, of course, Cesaro came in with his hard-knocking style with some nasty uppercuts. Of course, that's Cesaro's bare-knuckle style. But of course, Santino, the comedy relief in the WWE. Of course, came in with his usual big moves, the hip toss, the big L, the big drop there. Sending up the Cobra until Cesaro's been doing his new move as of late, the Cesaro swing, the little turning stuff, the helicopter with the legs. He did it like 30 times. And he didn't seem phased. And you saw Santino's reaction. But despite being dizzy from the Cesaro swing, Mr. Santino did get the surprise roll-up despite being dizzy over Cesaro in a 1, 2, 3 victory. Surprise victory for Santino. You know what happened because he was too dizzy from the Cesaro swing, as they're calling it. So there you go. Surprise roll-up from Santino. Now, on with our last segment involving Cody Rhodes' former legacy leader, the Viper, the old Viper, Randy Orton, in a face-to-face verbal confrontation with Daniel Bryan, where we all knew it was going to go. Like Punk's always said, we always see these predictable events, like a contract signing, we all know it's going to lead to something physical. Well, we can kind of tell that this face-to-face verbal confrontation will get physical. Even when Jerry the King Lawler says, lead the physical to Sunday. I said, yeah, why, Jerry? But anyway, he talked about, the way the title was stripped from D-Bot after the fast count. And Owens like, I was mad at the time that Triple H stripped Daniel Bryan and didn't give me the title back immediately. But it motivated me. And attacked The Miz the way I did 2 weeks ago in Cleveland with the chair and the RKO and the DDT on the American. And congrats on your little engagement, D-Bot, but indeed, I'm going to break you. Because I'm Orton. I don't care about nobody anymore. I'm the old heel that everybody used to love to hate, and now you love to hate me again. Although there are people cheering, dumb people. Anyway, maybe it's because they want a pretty boy to cheer on since Cena's injured. Anyway, Daniel Bryan said, I never needed anybody. You used Triple H. That's like, D-Bot had a good point his head. Like, what would have happened to your potential? You can never achieve your potential without having Triple H pushing you on a swing and making you the guy. Like something like that, but saying you'll never get to the top if you want kissing Triple H's ass, basically is what he was saying. Saying, I didn't need anybody's help. I did it all by myself, that's what he said. And of course, I will be the champ this Sunday, and the whole crowd was like, yes! I love the crowd reaction to yes. And I was like, no, I will be the champ again. And I feel bad for your fiance, who's not with a good-looking pretty boy like me. You weren't available, or you were already married. No joke there. Anyway, Orton can't make fun of the fact he's a troll and short. Is like, instead of your fiance Brie waking up every morning to a pretty young thing like me, Orton, she's waking up to a barn animal, farm animal. That's what made Daniel Bryan snap. He was sick and tired of the verbal assaults, so it's time for it. Physical assault. Despite Jerry's pleas, the predictable physical assault happened with D-Bot lashing on the Orton following that verbal down edge of him. He took Orton outside the ring, nailed him against post to post, and really took care over some big nasty moves. Until, of course, Orton got back in the game and started getting voices in his head. And all of a sudden, boom. Orton got on a barricade, slamming him numerous times against the ring post. And then doing the Hangman DDT on the apron. I thought I was going to do on the barricade again. But here comes Pre-Bella. That's when this whole segment got really emotional. They're using the real-life engagement as a storyline now. With Pre-Bella coming out, pleading Orton to stop the attack on D-Bot. But Orton wasn't done yet. Following the apron move, the DDT, Orton cleared the announce table and did an RKO on Daniel Bryan through the table. Man, that was a nasty table break. Nasty table breaks again. And Brie's reaction was just so, shocked and oh my god, man, my fiance, she was just so upset, and Orton's look was just I don't care. And that's how we end Raw with Brie Bella standing on top of a fallen D-Bot after Orton's attack. To indeed prepare for the matchup this Sunday for the WWE Championship. No stipulation added yet, but I bet you it will be added soon. I think that's the thing. We had the screwy ending at Night of Champions, the fast count, so there should be some stipulation in there. Is it going to be added on SmackDown, or is it going to be just like the No Interference War announced the night of the pay-per-view, like Triple H did during Night of Champions, and the stipulation first segment of the pay-per-view? So they go, okay, go home show tonight. Very intense scenarios with D-Bot and Brie and, of course, Big Show and all that. Getting ready for Battleground this Sunday. Should be intense. Okay, and that is it for my Raw review for tonight. I will see you all later with that in mind. You've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great rest of your Monday and week, everybody. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.